Hello, you're watching Shalom World News. I'm Dana Villa coming to you from Chicago, Illinois. Here are the latest headlines from around the world. Attacks on the church and clergymen are on the rise in Cameroon, and in the latest incident, a priest from the diocese of Mamfe has been abducted. It was Vicar General Monsignor Julius Agbortoko who was kidnapped on Sunday, August 29th, by men identifying themselves as Separatist fighters. He is the second priest to be abducted from the diocese in the last 3 months. The chancellor of the diocese, Father Sebastian Sinju, said the abductors are demanding a hefty ransom of over 20 million francs. 3 months ago, Father Christopher Iboka was kidnapped and later released after 9 days. Denouncing the attacks on the church in general and that of Mamfe in particular, Father Sinju called on the perpetrators of the ongoing crisis in the country to spare the church. Vatican Secretary of State Cardinal Pietro Parolin addressed the Korean Global Forum for Peace in a video message on Tuesday, August 31st. The virtual forum is being held at the South Korean Ministry of Unification to promote peace and restore unity. This year's forum has the theme, quote, "A new vision for inter-Korean relations and community for peace, economy, and life," unquote, and it will conclude on September 2nd. Cardinal Parolin spoke on, quote, "the role of the churches in establishing peace on the Korean peninsula," unquote. Meanwhile, the Korean Catholic Church is a prominent face in the reconciliation and peace efforts between North and South Korea. With the establishment of the Special Commission for the Reconciliation of the Korean people in 1997, the Korean Church has organized several initiatives for peace and unification. The Holy Father has authorized the promulgation of decrees concerning the heroic virtues of 3 candidates for sainthood, and one of them is a young Italian mother who delayed chemotherapy to save the life of her unborn child. The life of Maria Cristina Cella Mocellini is similar to that of Saint Gianna Beretta Molla, an Italian pediatrician who refused a hysterectomy and an abortion to protect her 4th child. Born on August 18, 1969, Mocellin was an exemplary Catholic and initially thought of becoming a nun until she met Carlo at the age of 16, who became her husband. In spite of undergoing treatment for sarcoma, she completed high school and got married in 1991. They had 2 children, and when Mocellin was pregnant with their 3rd child, the disease resurfaced. She refused to undergo chemotherapy to save her unborn child. She died of cancer at the young age of 26. The church in Poland will hold a, quote, day of solidarity, end quote, with Afghanistan's war-weary people on September 5th. The Polish Bishops' Conference president, Archbishop Stanisław Godecki, has urged Catholics to pray for and help the 38 million people living in the Muslim-majority country now under the control of the Taliban. The prelate urged believers to pray to the God of peace so that the, quote, clash of arms may fall silent and solutions may be found at the table of dialogue, end quote. The Archbishop also appealed for financial assistance to help the suffering people of Afghanistan. During the meeting of the Polish bishops at Jasna Góra, which houses the much-acclaimed icon of the Black Madonna on August 25th, the prelates decided to have a nationwide campaign for the Afghans. The Archbishop of Boston, Cardinal Sean Patrick O'Malley, has paid tribute to Marine Corps Sergeant Johanny Rosario Picardo and her fellow service members who were killed in the suicide bombing in Afghanistan. Assuring prayers for the sergeant and her family, the Archbishop said in a Twitter message that Johanny had proudly served her country and made the ultimate sacrifice. The top prelate said she also dedicated her life for the greater good, including serving the people of Lawrence through the Cor Onum Meal Center. The center provides meals for hundreds of people in the city of Lawrence, and they include the poor and homeless, children without parental supervision, and the elderly. The August 26 attack at the Kabul airport left 182 people dead, including 13 U.S. soldiers. As the Queensland Parliament in Australia prepares to debate the controversial voluntary assisted dying bill, pro-life supporters in the state will conduct March for Life on September 11th. Organized by Cherish Life Queensland, people supporting the sanctity of life will march through the streets of Brisbane. The bill forces healthcare workers and providers to perform euthanasia in spite of their conscientious objection. If it becomes a law, doctors can go into hospitals or nursing care homes and administer a lethal dose without informing or consulting the facility. Church leaders, doctors, and human rights advocates have marched their strong opposition to the bill. Meanwhile, former Australian Prime Minister Tony Abbott, who is a Catholic, slammed the bill, saying that legalizing doctor-assisted suicide in the state would turn doctors from healers into killers. A Catholic lawyer and activist in Pakistan has decried the rising number of abductions of Christian girls and their forced marriage after being converted to Islam. Akmal Bhatti, who works for the Center for Legal Aid Assistance and Settlement, an interdenominational organization combating Christian persecution, said there is no law to combat forced conversions, adding that pedophiles use religion as an excuse to hide adultery. The lawyer also pointed out the bias in the judiciary, wherein the courts themselves distribute conversion certificates and hand over the victims to their molesters on many occasions. He also alleged that the defendants' counsels deliberately evoke the religious sentiments of the judges. And those are your latest headlines. Do join us tomorrow. In the meantime, you can visit swnews.org for more updates. Shalom.